let's move on with my topic, which is the female reproductive cycle. So in my topic, we will tackle the four phases of the female reproductive cycle, which is the menstrual phase, pre-ovulatory phase, ovulation phase, and post-ovulatory phase. So first is the menstrual phase. So menstrual phase, when the uterus shed its lining, which is the endometrium, and this cycle or this phase lasts for roughly the first 5 days of the cycle, 3 to 5 days of the cycle. So menstrual flow from the uterus consists of 50 to 150 ml of blood, tissue fluid, mucus, and epithelial cells that sheds from the endometrium. So next is the pre-ovulatory phase. So end of menstruation and ovulation lasts for 13 to 16 days in a 28-day cycle. So in this phase, the menstrual and pre-ovulatory phase together are termed the follicular phase because the ovarian follicles are growing and developing. So next is the ovulation. So ovulation is a rupture of mature follicle and release of secondary oocytes into the pelvic cavity. So this usually occurs on the day 14 in a 28-day cycle. So mostly ovulation lasts for about 1 day lang. So nag-occur siya mostly talaga sa ika-14 day ng 28-day cycle ng mga babae. So next is the post-ovulatory phase. So between ovulation, the onset of the next menses lasts for 14 days in a 28-day cycle, from day 15 to day 28. Nag-occur si post-ovulatory phase. So after ng ovulation, the mature follicle collapses and the basement membrane between the granulosa cell and the theca interna breaks down, and that is connected to corpus hemorrhagicum. So, ano nga ba si corpus hemorrhagicum? So, once a blood clot forms from minor bleeding of the ruptured follicle, the follicles become the corpus hemorrhagicum. So, then, once na nag-form na si corpus hemorrhagicum, then the luteal cell absorbs the blood clot, and that phase is also called luteal phase. So, let's move on to the estrogen and progesterone. So, estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen stimulate proliferation of the stratum bassalis to form a new stratum functionalis that replace the one that has slut off. So, estrogen is secreted by the ovarian follicles, while progesterone is secreted mainly by the cells of the corpus luteum. So, you can read this progesterone here in my PPT, but I will talk later about what estrogen and progesterone do to the reproductive cycle. So next is the relaxin and myometrium. So relaxin produced of the corpus luteum during each monthly cycle. It relaxes the uterus by inhibiting contraction of myometrium. Myometrium is the middle layer of the uterine wall consisting of smooth muscle tissue. This muscular layer plays a crucial role in the contraction and relaxation of the uterus during the menstrual cycle and childbirth. So, relaxin, siya is produced of the corpus luteum during each monthly cycle. It releases the uterus by inhibiting contraction of the myometrium. So, ano nga ba yung myometrium ulit? Myometrium, ito siya yung parang siya yung smooth muscle ng uterine lining natin na mas maipadali niya yung paglabas ng menses ng mga babae, and mas pinapadali rin niya yung childbirth. So, siya yung nagko-contract. Hine-help niya yung menstrual blood during menstruation, and also facilitate the delivery of a baby during childbirth or labor. So, next is the human chronic gonadotropin, HCG. HCG is also our hormone produced during pregnancy. The cell that form the placenta release HCG, and it presence in the urine is what pregnancy test detects to confirm pregnancy. So, HCG, siya pala yung hormones nating mga babae na pag nagtitake tayo ng PT sa bahay natin is siya yung nagde-detect or siya yung nagsasabi kung pregnant ba yung babae or not. So, let's move on to the clinical connection. So, female athlete triad. So, there are many causes that can lead to changes of the female reproductive cycle. Examples are weight loss or low body weight, eating disorder. I will give an example of an eating disorder kasi wala siyang binigay na example in the Tortora book. So, eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa. So, most people with anorexia has a disrupted menstrual cycle. In addition, physical activities like the female athletes can alter the usual or regular menstrual cycle. There are 3 conditions that contributes to the female athlete triad, and these are disorder eating disorder, amenorrhea, and osteoporosis. So, most of the athletes engage to the physical activities to lose weight. They also develop eating disorder behavior to maintain their body weight. So, amenorrhea. Amenorrhea refers to the absence of menstruation, which is causes either pregnancy or menopause. Pero for female athlete experiences amenorrhea because of reduced secretion of GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, that influence the anterior pituitary gland, causing low secretion of LH and FSH. Hence, ovarian follicles fail to develop and ovulation does not occur, decreasing estrogen and progesterone level, and monthly menstrual bleeding does not occur. So, mostly female athlete triad occur in young women with a very low body fats. Like an athlete, low yung mga body fats nila because of their diet and because mini-maintain nga nila yung skinny na weight for their sports. So, a contributing factor also include low level of hormone leptin secreted by the adipose cells. So, furthermore, estrogen is essential to help bones retain calcium and other minerals. Low level of estrogen is associated with loss of bone mineral density. That is one of the reasons female athlete triad causes old bones in young women. So, according to study, athletic individuals in their 20s had low bone mineral density, the same to those of post-menopausal women aged 50 to 70 years old. So, short periods of amenorrhea may not be serious among young women athletes. However, long-term cessation of the reproductive cycle may be accompanied by a loss of bone mass and adolescence. Athlete may not achieve adequate bone mass, and both of these instances can result to premature osteoporosis and irreversible bone damage, which can be alarming and requires precautionary measures. So that is the female athlete triad. Um, so next in my topic is I will further explain the what do estrogen and progesterone do to our reproductive cycle, and also I will explain how eggs oocytes mature and develop. So I have here a drawing that I've drawn so that I can explain easily to you the cycle. So first is the primordial oocyte or our eggs. So as the primordial oocyte turn into the primary, secondary, and tertiary follicles. So as this happens, certain cells become more apparent and abundant, as you can see. And by the time that it is a tertiary follicle, the theca cell is now present. So, and in tertiary follicle, some of the cells undergo atresia or cell death. Pero if early on this cycle, yung hypothalamus is mag-release ng gonadotropin releasing hormone, then magta-travel ng anterior pituitary gland, and that will release gonadotropins. So, GnRH, releasing hormones nga siya. So, ang nire-release niya is yung FSH and LH. So, let's focus muna sa FSH. FSH will travel to the tertiary follicles and select some of the follicles to stop undergoing atresia or cell death para mag-mature into a Graafian follicle. So, as you can see, the theca cells become more abundant and they release estrogen. The Graafian follicle release estrogen and prepare. What do estrogen do? So, Graafian follicle release estrogen. So, this estrogen will travel to the uterine lining and prepare for implantation. So, piniprepare ni estrogen yung uterine lining for implantation. So, pinapakapal niya to prepare for implantation. So, and now the low level of estrogen inhibit gonadotropin from being released. Pero, as the Graafian follicles mature, it starts to release more and more estrogen. And high level of estrogen not only continue to prepare the uterus, but it activates the GnRH, and you get the surge of FSH and LH before the day 14 or before the what do you call that? Before the ovulation. So, and then now the LH naman, let's talk about the LH. The LH travels to the Graafian follicle and it tells it to ovulate. Pero may ginagawa rin si LH dito eh. So, wini-weaken niya yung wall ng ovaries para ma-release niya yung egg dito sa fimbriae. And ang LH, diba sinasabi niya na mag-ovulate siya para ma-release ito sa fimbriae. And now, the fimbriae take the eggs to the uterine tube. So, uterine the fimbrate take the egg to the uterine tube. So let's all what we have left is the corpus luteum. So this corpus luteum is an empty body called the corpus luteum and it releases progesterone. Corpus luteum releases progesterone. Saan nga ba made ang corpus luteum? Corpus luteum is made of fat and cholesterol that releases progesterone. It releases progesterone for for around about 10 days. So progesterone 10 days. And then progesterone further helps the uterine lining for implantation. So ang progesterone mas pinapakapal niya yung uterine lining for implantation. Kung may mangyayari mang implantation, mas pinapakapal niya si uterine lining. But if at the end of the cycle, no egg is implanted, no signal is sent, the uterine lining slat off. The uterine lining slat off or sheds. And that is what we call menstruation. So, yeah, that is all for this report.